What's up, folks? Thank you for listening in to my little break time conversations here. Cooler talk over the internet. Hope everybody doing well, keeping safe in these crazy times. It's a bit hot down here, I'm not gonna lie to you. 86 degrees. It's kind of windy, but it's like windy where the wind just blows heat on you. Like it's not a soothing breeze. It's just really hot and muggy right now. And I gotta work outside sometimes, so it's pretty tough, especially when you're a bald man. You're a bald, light skinned dude, and you know, sun starts striking the head, and I don't like hats, so you already know how that goes. Yeah, man. So I just wanted to reasonable. Hey, Woodock, hold on, man. Hold on, bro. What up, Woodock? Big up to you, man. Peace, peace. So the conversation I really wanted to talk about was, you know, the zone been getting some stick, maybe deservedly so, for sort of not doing much over the last few months with their boxing in America. That is, they have a pretty good card coming up with Josh Warrington in England. Have the AJ card coming up, which the undercard is trash, but the main event is great. So they got quite a few things happening in England, but nothing really for America. No, as somebody who is a part of the quote unquote, the zone global viewership. I think I've said here before that I like British cards because, well, it starts earlier for me. I can watch the damn card, watch the entire card, and still go on with my day or my evening. I like some of the British fighters. They give some good fights. And the truth is, as a global customer, whether the fight happens in America or happens in Britain or wherever, Uzbekistan or wherever, it doesn't really bother me because I'm not from none of these countries and I'm not going to be able to attend none of these events. So for me, it really doesn't matter too much. I would like to see, of course, the American side of things, because there's fighters over there that's not going to be fighting on the British cards, like how Ray Savage did. But there's fighters over there that need airtime too. The issue they face, that is Matchroom and Golden Boy, is that they don't seem to be making no fights between each other. We're not gonna get a Bival versus Zerdo fight. We're not gonna get a Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney fight, or Devin Haney versus Jojo Diaz fight. We're not gonna get none of that. So you have two promotional companies on the same broadcast that's not making fights between each other. But Golden Boy itself doesn't really do a lot of cards. Golden Boy does a card every so often. It's not really a lot, which is very strange because, well, I guess, with the number one attraction gone, Canelo. What's up, Lisa Bales? What's up, Ayaba? How you doing, man? Number one attraction gone, it causes an issue for them, but there should be an opportunity for them to start doing more cards. I think Matchroom has taken more strongly to the DAZN platform than Golden Boy, even though it's weird because DAZN essentially saved the Golden Boy when HBO went on. And Golden Boy really, in my opinion, hasn't pulled its weight really in terms of quantity of events. Their biggest events is the ones that they cross-promoted with Matchroom. But by itself, Golden Boy doesn't really put on a lot of fights, a lot of events. So for me, as a global customer, where the fight happens doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be attending none of these fights anyway. But I do want to see a lot of the prospects that Matchroom might be working with, Khalil Cole. I want to see them back. When are we going to see Diego Pacheco back? When are we going to see, maybe, even though he's not doing so good because, he had a draw and an L, Arthur Jones, when is he going to come back? We haven't seen. There was a young kid, a white kid named Nikita Bobby. He was fighting a lot on, he was one of Eddie Hearn's first signings over there. And, he just kind of went away. He just kind of disappeared. Amo Williams, he had a mental breakdown. I don't know if he'll ever be back. But it's a conversation that we had, the UGC people had, and we were talking about that. Eddie Hearn needs to start focusing on his guys, because Eddie, which he's supposed to do, he's still trying to make fights with PBC guys. He's supposed to do that. That's his job, because PBC still has the names that his guys might need. Like the latest thing was Eddie said on IFL that, he spoke to Louis the Cubas about can we get Adrian Broner versus Conor Benn. I guess Louis the Cuba says that they wanted more or whatever. The number wasn't enough, so he's still thinking about it. If Conor Benn gets past Adrian Granados, and that's not a bad fight. I like that fight, but the truth is PBC and all of them have said that they're doing their fights in-house. They're doing their fights in-house. Whatever good or bad that does for the sport, they're doing their fights in-house. And it'll be tooth and nail to get one of their fighters. So this presents a problem, because even though the PBC guys, we know they're not going to fight, Eddie Hearn still has to do that. Oscar De La Hoya still has to try and make fights with these people, or whoever is running Golden Boy these days, because I'm not quite sure who's running Golden Boy. But the PBC guys have declared by word and by action that they're not fighting nobody else. It's all in-house. You're on the wrong side of the street. Floyd said, we're not going to make no more promoters rich. Everything's going to be in-house, blah, blah, blah. All this shit. So then what do the people on DAZN do? Because some of the names, whether we like it or not, are on PBC, and it's their job to make fights. You have Jamal Charlo, who, as Dr. Woodard said, was in a bit of an issue with a waitress. But, with a waitress. Before that, Adrian Broner, who I just spoke about, always in some shit. Tank always in some shit. So what needs to happen? Does Golden Boy and Matchroom really not try and make no fights with PBC? Are people gonna be accepting if Eddie or Oscar or whoever don't get no fights with these PBC guys? Are we gonna be accepting of that? Because the whole point about boxing is that we can make fights with each other, make the best fights, but 1/3 of the, you can say 1/4 of the big promotional companies in America or worldwide, there's Golden Boy, Matchroom, Top Rank, and PBC/TMT. One of those entities have to say they're not fighting nobody else. We've seen Matchroom and Top Rank make fights with each other. But Golden Boy and Matchroom on the same broadcast are not making no fights with each other. So the zone has to tighten that up. You know what I'm saying? The zone has to tighten that up. But as a global customer, again, where these fights happen matters not to me. The issue is sometimes I want to see the other guys. Like I want to see the American-based prospects fight also. Eddie Hearn has to start bringing up his young fighters to take the place of these aging PBC guys. A lot of these PBC guys are actually older than we think. They've been around for a long time. A lot. Let me see the people who Eddie Hearn tried to make fights for. Let me drop the link first. Anybody wants to come in, have a light conversation with me, So we're going to pull up the people who Eddie or Oscar have tried to make fights with on PBC, because it's my contention that the truth is these guys are aging. They're becoming more and more irrelevant in the sport, and it's time to start bringing in a new crop of people to replace them. So you got to start working your farm system, bringing them through. A lot of these PBC guys have a lot of undeserved hype. They really haven't done much, but they got a lot of hype. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through all the people that we know have been made offers to. We're going to look at their age and their relevancy in the sport still. Let's see. Hey, what up, Haplo? Rodnell in the house. Santos, my Ayaba Lisa Bales. John Dealey, my correspondent from the Midlands. Aabs, the Central of the Mission, bro. Hey, I saw Dina at the Prefontaine Classic. You know what I'm saying? She looked healthy again. You know, I'm glad to see her smiling. You know what I'm saying? She was crying at the Olympics, and you know, I felt so bad for my future second wife. Hey, Abs, if you see Dina walking around, just tell her what I said, please. The offer still stands. I'll talk to my wife now about, you know, allowing, you know, a sister wife in the house. You know what I mean? Do your job, Abs. Black in the house. And wooed up. Yeah. So who are the people that Eddie Hearn made overtures to? Let's go to boxrec. So we're going to start with the lowest weight I remember was Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. hasn't fought since February of 2020. This is going on another year since Gary Russell fought. Gary Russell, does this say how old Gary Russell is? This doesn't say how old Gary Russell is. I need to know how old these people are. Where do I go for that? Let me see again. Let's look again. Okay, here we go. So if we say we're going to start with Gary Russell Jr., we know Gary Russell Jr. was invited to fight Josh Warrington, Devin Haney, whoever else. He ain't fought since February of 2020. Gary Russell is now 33 years of age. 33. Gary Russell is the one of the longest reigning champs in the game right now. And he's not untapped to do nothing still. He was offered things from Eddie Hearn. He turned them all down. How relevant is Gary Russell in boxing still? We look at somebody like, what's the next weight up? Javanta Davis. 26. People still treat this dude like he's a prospect. Javanta Davis, the former 3-division champion, or whatever. The unified, undisputed Reggie Belt champion of the world. Tank Davis has fought mostly people who he's dragged up in weight, and then fought a guy in Mario Barrios who I don't even think anybody knew there was an actual secondary belt holder at 140. No one knew that. Tank is still relevant in the game, but TMT has already said they're not going to Nobody sends offers for Tank. We send the offers. He didn't fight Tevin Farmer for Eddie Hearn. He didn't fight Devin. He's not going to fight Devin Haney. But I guess they can squeeze something out of Tank. Maybe he's next up. You can keep fighting these small guys and making a living off of that. Hold on. The main discussion here today is me as a DAZN global subscriber and what I think the people on DAZN should be doing in terms of making fights. As I said, a few of us have already said that Eddie Hearn needs to stop reaching out to PBC guys. What y'all think of this? Should Eddie Hearn quit trying to make any kind of fights with PBC guys? And if he does do that, how much good fights are we going to get? Because remember, Eddie Hearn is primarily a UK-based, Matchroom is primarily a UK-based promotional company. The problem is, to make fights in America, you do have to reach out to these people who are always turning you down. I don't really know, other than Andy Ruiz, any other PBC person that has taken up Eddie Hearn on his offers or has been allowed to. Ahab says, force Triple G to fight Andre, Ryan, and Jojo to fight Haney. And we have the International Man Fan. How you doing, sir?
Oh my God! Oh my God! Good morning, good day to everybody. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me on. Iron Kong. I mean, hey, look, we talking about Stank Davis. You know, turning down these fights. He's gonna continue to do it. You know, I mean, he owes like $40K. I mean, come on now. We can't trust this kid. You know, we talk about him and Rolly Romero fighting. Rolly Romero, everybody know he just wanted to retire. Now he coming back out of retirement. That's just straight dumpster truck juice.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Ahab says PBC plan to freeze Eddie. I don't know if it's worked, because the truth is, last year Eddie Hearn, for a few years, he's been doing some things on his own. Eddie Hearn had what? He got Callum in there. He got Billy Joe in there. He's been doing some decent work on his own for a person that's not from America. You know what I'm saying? I think PBC eventually is freezing themselves out, because you have these guys over there who are aging and who themselves are not doing nothing big. Jamal Charlo. How old is Jamal Charlo? Let me see.
He got to be at least 30, 31 years old. He's at the peak of his prime.
He's 31. Now you have a problem. Jamal Charlo is 31 years old, 160 champ, and not on tap to do nothing unless Canelo fights him.
And not only that, Iron Kong, he's on a escrow account allowance on his credit card. Come on now, who the hell, 31-year-old man, and you on the escrow account allowance? Come on now, and you're getting denied 3 times. Lord have mercy, what is going on?
If we are unaware, Jamal Charlo had his card declined and he got pissed off in a restaurant because the lady said, "Sir, you can't pay for them tostones and you can't pay for that cup of rum punch that you had with your card. I don't care if it's gold, I don't care if it's black, it's not working. Do you have any shekels in your man purse?" You know what I'm saying? So Jamal Charlo obviously has financial flow issues. Maybe Al Heyman cut him off because he's a brat, like a bratty college kid. So you have an issue with Jamal Charlo now. These PBC guys are on allowances.
I I think Jamal Charlo needs to sell his high-raised redneck truck. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on now. If you heard for funds, you can't pay for the Tostones and the bacalao and fish and all that. You need to ante up on them trucks, man. You know what I'm saying? Raise some revenue. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. Yo, Lisa Bales said Eddie just need to focus on his fighters and stop trying to get fights PBC. But Lisa Bales, in order to get the best fights, co-promotion must happen. Of course, Eddie can always have his fighters fight other guys, but he has to at least try to reach out to these people to fight. I think Conor Benn versus Adrian Broner is a good fight. It's not going to happen, but that's his job to do that. If it's like with PBC. PBC wants to fight all in-house, and we shit on PBC fights. Like most of PBC fights I don't watch. Like when that shit comes on Fox, I don't watch that. I don't watch none of them fights. Right? So that's where we run into a problem, because if he doesn't reach out to these people and at least try and get these fights, the fights are going to be whack anyway. Same with Golden Boy. The fights are going to be whack. Because when PBC fights all in-house fights, the fights are awful. Most of them. And now the pay-per-view fights are terrible.
So I ain't calling. You didn't watch my fight with Fagan Butts?
I actually did watch that fight, despite my better judgment. I actually did watch that fight, and I was mad I watched that fight too. You need to repay me my time, sir.
Well, let me go to the escrow account and maybe refund you that money.
You go to the escrow. It's like if Eddie or Oscar and them are not going to reach out to other people or each other to make fights, the fights are going to be whack. The fights are going to be whack. Here you have this dude, Keith Thurman. How old is Keith Thurman? Let's pull up Keith Thurman.
Like I'm about 32 years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting up there in age.
32.
You know, yeah. You know,
Keith is 32.
Hey, but look,
What?
You know, all that time in Tibet, you know, my little 2 years off. When you in the Himalayan mountains, that adds about 5 years, you know, of youth. So technically, in mountain time, I'm about 26. You know what I'm saying? Because I was spinning them logs up there with my dear brother Numthi.
Let me tell you something. When you talking to me, you want me to get my spit rag out. You listen, control your spittle, sir.
My bad. You know, my saliva glands, they're a little bit abnormally large. So sometimes, you know what I'm saying, that's going to happen.
I got to wipe my damn screen off.
I suggest you get your totes umbrella when you're talking to me.
All I'm saying is Keith is 32. All of these dudes are in their mid or early 30s. That's when you start going, you know, you're either at your peak, or some people start going downhill. Deontay Wilder, like 36. 36. All these people, but they're not making, well, Deontay Wilder has himself caught with Tyson Fury. He can't get out of that now. It's like he's in a nightmare with a guy who he should have never gave no opportunity to. And look where he is now. But whatever. So DAZN is in a jam. The two people that they have are not making fights with each other. One of the promoters, Oscar De La Hoya, has iffy loyalty to the platform, because he's telling people to subscribe to Triller, but not telling nobody to subscribe to DAZN. Oscar De La Hoya told the world that Ryan Garcia don't need nobody. Everybody needs Ryan Garcia. So he immediately blocked the Devin Haney fight. Right? So we have a problem where one side of the zone, Golden Boy, is not holding up the end of the bargain. You have Oscar saying he wants to get Zerdo to 50-0. Now all of a sudden Zerdo is saying Dimitri Bivol is ducking him. I'm like, God damn. Zerdo Ramirez, a man who has never involved himself in any fight worth a damn ever in his career. Ever. So you have one end of the zone with Golden Boy not holding the end of the bargain. You have Matchroom who's trying to make fights with other people, but they ain't gonna get it. Eddie Hearn admitted to Coogan that if he was involved in the promotions, if the in the negotiations with Canelo and Plant, they would not have wanted to negotiate with him. So it was best he kept himself out because he doesn't think Al wants to negotiate with him at all. That's why he deals with Louis de Cubas. But so far, all these Louis de Cubas conversations are bearing no fruit. No Jamal Charlo versus Andre. No Adrian Broner versus Conor Ben. None. So what needs to happen? Because if these guys are not getting no fight from outside the platform, do we think the fights in-house is going to be any good? It's going to be whacked just like PBC. I must say, when he does fights maybe on the domestic market in England, he gets good fights there because he has a strong foothold in England. But for me, as a global customer, that doesn't really matter. I'll watch fights anywhere. And I like British guys because they come on at a time suitable for me because I'm an old man. And I like watching my fights and going to bed. And I want to stay up doing laps around my living room because I want to stay awake because the damn main event ain't on till 1 o'clock in the morning. Who's this? Oscar.
That's right, Iron Kong. Hey, look, that's why I'm having my fight at the reasonable time so that everyone can enjoy me. Me and the MMA fighter. All right, we're bringing real entertainment back, baby. Did you see my rock hard abs? You know, I look like an Adonis. You know, I'm back, baby. I told you. Next up is Triple G. Where has he been? Where's Triple G been? I'll get him out of semi-retirement, all right? Since Canelo want to fight him, you know, I tried to make the deals, you know, on his own, but Triller, you know, they're paying me in, you know, some weed and coke and smoke, you know. So over there, baby, it's Triller, baby.
Hey, yo. Woodock says these PBC fighters are really mentally slow. They want to be like Mayweather, but still so financially dependent on Heyman. Hey, that's a fact. The problem is, again, all of these dudes are in their 30s. These aren't 20-something years old people no more. These aren't 20-something years old people no more. So what do we expect going forward from the zone's promoters, Golden Boy and Matchroom? Since it's also obvious that they're not even making no fights between each other. They're not making no fights between each other. And Golden Boy is supposed to be, at the very least, a much more experienced promoter in the American market. But Golden Boy doesn't really operate like that because they don't really make a lot of fights, which was strange to me. It seems like Golden Boy, all they really had was Canelo. It was just Canelo. Now they have Virgil Ortiz, who they downplay for Ryan Garcia. But Virgil is going to only be able to fight every so often. But speaking as a DAZN global customer, I gotta say, unfortunately, Eddie and them gonna have to keep reaching out to make these fights. But I'm not sure it's gonna bear no fruit. It's not gonna bear no fruit, unfortunately. Who's that, Al? What up, Al?
Hey, what's going on, Kong? Hey, you know, listen, I don't make many appearances. I don't make many appearances, but here's the deal. PBC, we control the narrative, all right? And bottom line is everybody's gonna get their money, okay? Now, you know, how I divvy the money, that is my business. All right. And you know, sometimes cards don't work. That is not my problem. The money is there. Okay. But we can't have an end moment. And we all know that Charlo had an end moment, and you know, he screwed up. All right. But you know, leave it to me, Daddy Papa Al, to clean it up. All right. Got the lawyers, we got the money. We're gonna get these things settled. All right. Don't worry about Tank. He's a superstar. Okay. We're gonna build him up slow. Okay. Marinate slow. You know, slow cook it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, there's no rush. Okay. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna pay the $80 to watch the PBC fight. Okay. We're gonna wait on these numbers for the Manny Pacquiao and Ugas, and then from there, we're gonna divvy out the money. Okay. Sausage, hot dogs, and parking lot backdoor money promotions. Okay, that's what it is. All right. Okay, tax free, baby. And you know, and my next form of payment, hey, I'm paying everybody in Dogecoin 2.0. I talked to my man Elon Musk, and hey, digital currency is the wave. You know, get to it, get with it, or get ran over. All right. Thank you.
I want to say thank you for to Mr. Heyman for coming on and giving us that wonderful explanation. There's a question for you though, Mr. Heyman. Al, why you ain't pick up when Jamel called for that emergency loan?
Now look, I have a certain bedtime. Okay, I take frequent cat naps. You know, because genius needs to rest. You know, and I implore everybody that you can't work all day. You know, who the hell said 8 hours was healthy for you to work? You know, you need to be sleeping at least 18 hours a day. And then in between those times that you are up, at least a 20-minute to 15-minute cat nap. All right. You know, it'll work wonders. I'm telling you. You know, it'll get the yang up, and you know, you'll be more revived. Okay, because in all actuality, I'm 150 years old. Okay, I am a vampire, and you know, I get up at night, very, you know, very seldomly, and you know, I sleep during the day. Okay, all right, so that's the truth. That's why you don't see me around much. Okay, that's just the honest truth. All right, I am a creature of the night. Okay, I'm a vampire. There you go. All right, that was my little secret. It's out now. All right, the world knows it.
Thank you, Nosferatu Heyman.
Blackula, thank you, Blackula.
Thank you, Blackula. I appreciate that. But yeah, so I saw some report, there's some rumor that Mikey Garcia might fight goddamn Devin Haney at 140. I don't know if that's gonna happen because Mikey Garcia is easy road promotions all the way. Although I don't think Mikey Garcia, you know, I think Mikey Garcia should be able to beat Devin Haney. He should. But then who knows? Mikey Garcia looks like he doesn't even box anymore. Who the hell
Mikey's been getting too much chimichangas and enchiladas. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Ooh.
Yeah, man. Hey, Tone says Thurman is done. Yeah, Tone, I agree with you, man. Keith Thurman needs to hang that shit up and do something else. But hey, all I'm saying is we're gonna have a problem coming up because look at what's happening in America, bro. The biggest boxing fight in America currently, he's goddamn Jake Paul. Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. This is what boxing is on the American market now, where the biggest fight is that. This is bigger than Undisputed with Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. This is bigger than Undisputed with Castaño and Jamel Charlo. This fight is getting more pub than those fights. Imagine that. That's what DAZN has to deal with stateside, where actual boxing fights, actual professional people who've been doing this for a long time have to play second fiddle to Jake Paul. That's the market he's in. And it's topsy-turvy because I guess Hearn said, he don't really want to deal with the YouTube boxing no more. He would like to do big actual boxing fights. But the truth is, that's what's selling in America. The clown fights, the freak show fights. People are running to. Remember when Eddie Hearn did the KS, not KSI. Was it KSI?
Yeah, it's KSI.
What card was that Billy Joe Saunders fought on and Devin Haney fought on? It was KSI versus Logan Paul? Was that it?
Something like that.
Right, that fight. And people shitted on Eddie Hearn when he did that. Oh, you got professional fighters, playing second fiddle to two YouTubers. It's like, okay. Now, Jake Paul got pro fighters coming over, trying to get on his card. And listen, man.
He got pro fighters training with him.
Pro fighters training with him. But before, they're shitting on KSI versus Logan Paul, which was two YouTubers. Right? Now you have a problem where DAZN finds itself in a market, in the American market, that doesn't actually care about boxing. Actual boxing. They don't care. They don't care about actual boxers. People who really dedicate themselves to the sport. They don't care. So how do you fight that, Santos? Tell me, how does DAZN fight that? Because let me tell you something. This Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul fight might do more numbers than Canelo versus what's his name? Canelo versus what's that boy name? Caleb Plant against Paul Wall. Right? Hold on. Who's sneaky? What up? Who's sneaky? What up, man?
Very sneaky, sir. It's RDM, man.
Hey, what up?
Hey, what up?
What does DAZN do in a market that treats a Jake Paul fight bigger than an undisputed fight with Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez and Brian Castano versus Jamel Charlo? This is the market that DAZN finds itself in now. Well, how do you fight that, Red Glove?
Like, what kind of card do you put on?
I mean, because we're saying, like, and I agree, like, DAZN has to give me something to keep my subscription, right?
Right.
We're saying in the American market, well, I'm saying in the American market appears like they don't really care about actual boxing cards, because the Jake Paul fight is getting more publicity than two undisputed fights. And it's like, you find yourself in the American market that, I mean, if you're a company and you find yourself in that, are you going to be spending that much money in that market or in other markets where you can make money off of actual boxing? What do you do?
Yeah. What you're saying makes sense, as much as I hate to admit it. I mean, it is a business. So, like, you gotta do what's conducive for your business, So, like, if the UK fans are showing that they're putting the money up, if fans in China and other countries, they're showing to be more loyal with their wallet, then it makes more sense to do that. Because, I mean, think about it like this. All right, Teofimo Lopez, he's from New York. Am I right? I'm not just tripping, right?
Yeah.
All right, his fight is at Madison Square Garden, but it's not in the main arena. It's in the theater. This guy is from Brooklyn. why is his fight being done in the theater and not in the main arena? My guess is they're not expecting to get ticket sales like that, and that's why they don't want to be showing an empty arena. So I mean, that kind of says something about the American market when you got somebody who is born and raised in New York. As far as I know, he's born and raised. I don't know, I could be wrong about at least the born part, I don't know, but he's from New York and he's fighting at Madison Square Garden in the theater. And we're not talking about a prospect, we're talking about somebody who damn near came undisputed. So like, to me, that says a lot about the American market. And I know that's not for every boxer, but you know, I know like boxers like Canelo, they sell well over here. But you know, how many Canelos are there, and how many Teofimo Lopez's are there?
That's a good point. I'm just trying to put it onto perspective for me, because again, I'm not from the UK or whatever. I'm not from America, but I am part of that global audience. I can't view none of these fights live. I can't go to none of these events. But for me, it's like, when I really think about it, as much as I don't like it, I get that they will be trying to put money where they're getting returns and where they're getting real traction on the sport that they're trying to put out. You know what I mean? Because if you're trying to put out boxing, your boxing ain't really doing shit in America, man. If this Canelo fight pay-per-view don't do, in my opinion, if this don't do a million buys, that's some bullshit. Because the UFC does a million buys with fights that are not this meaningful. And if this don't do a million buys or very close to it, then goddamn, boxing in America is effed up. If Canelo in an undisputed fight can't do a million or very close to a million buys, then something wrong. Something is wrong. Because as far as Caleb Plant said, he has a lot of fans. He has, I mean, the entire state of Tennessee has to buy this fight. How much people live in Tennessee? Like 500,000 people? How much people live in Tennessee? I don't know.
No, Tennessee. I'll look it up. Just give me a minute. Let me see if I can.
Know, man. All I know is Tennessee is not Texas.
Yeah, it's not Texas, but I'm pretty sure they got more than 500,000.
And therefore, Tennessee needs to come out and support this fight. Like I'm saying, this fight needs to do well, a million, over a million, something, because that would then, if it doesn't do that, that would then mean boxing is in a really bad place in America. And DAZN is going to have to make decisions that I might not like, because I want to see some of these American guys fight on DAZN. I'm not paying $80 for these fights no more. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I'm saying, so I want that shit on my subscription. You have a bunch of Olympic guys coming out, but a lot of them Olympic guys who are medalists are not American, right? A lot of them dudes actually are from the UK. Not saying you need to win an Olympic medal to be a big-time boxer, but the names that were made in the Olympics, a lot of them are not American. Keyshawn Davis was already a name before. He's a big name now. But Keyshawn seems to gravitate more towards the choker chain gang. Yeah. So who knows, man? But that's all I'm saying. Like, the state of boxing in America does not encourage investment. It just doesn't. And I hate that shit, because I want to see the American fighters on my app. That's real. The thing is, also, would these American guys be willing to travel to fight? Because a lot of them seem to be stuck on, I need to fight in America, And I get that, but would you be willing to travel to fight? So DAZN has another issue. You're opening up in a lot of different markets, but are the people who are signed under your broadcast, are they willing to fight in those other markets?
Real quick, Kong, I was able to look it up. Tennessee in 2019 had a reported population of 6.829 million people.
Well, that's close to 500,000.
Close enough.
Close enough. Give or take a few million. Tone says, have boxing promoters and networks help blur the line between professional and celebrity boxing by getting involved and holding actual professional bouts on these guys? Yeah, I mean, like Lou DiBella has people on the Jake Paul, the Jake Paul card, but Lou DiBella these days has been struggling, so he's trying to get his fighters anywhere. Amanda Serrano's on. I think he has somebody else on. He's trying to get his fighters anywhere, man. But then a lot of these professional fighters themselves are trying to be celebrity boxers. A lot of these dudes ain't really doing no real professional fighting, just a bunch of celebrity boxing bullshit that they into. That's the pro fighters. They're more YouTube than the YouTubers.
That's true. I mean, if Tank Davis could only fight as much on in the ring as he does on Twitter, he would be one active son of a bitch.
I'm telling you. So
Same with Ryan Garcia.
Boxers know do more social media shit, Twitter beefing and all this other beefing rather than actual fighting. Boxing in America is mostly a soap opera, a telenovela.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the market that Golden Boy and Matchroom, DAZN find themselves in, where people prefer to talk about fights rather than fighting. I agree with the sentiment that, in my opinion, Eddie Hearn should stop offering these PBC guys any offers, because since he's been offering them anything, all they've done is just disrespect him, especially Adrian Broner, who already disrespected Eddie Hearn. The first time Eddie Hearn came over, y'all remember, Adrian Broner put the man's offer on Jump Street. Oh, this is bullshit. I wiped my ass with this. Now he's on an allowance.
Yeah. Yeah, and Adrian Broner, you know, he's just an idiot, because I mean, he turned down big money from Eddie Hearn. He turned down even bigger money from Jay-Z. You know, and for him, he's not smart enough to, you know, turn that, if Al Heyman is forcing him to turn down these big ass paydays, then turn him down quietly behind the scenes. But what he's doing is he's not only is he turning down these offers, he's then burning bridges. Because if you're a businessman and you make an offer to somebody, and then the first thing they do is run to social media and put you on blast, are you really ever going to want to do any kind of business with that person in the future?
But that's the market that Eddie Hearn finds himself in, where he has to keep offering these same people, because Adrian Broner already disrespected him. And so did Jamal Charlo. He disrespected him already. But you're going to try making fights with these people. And in my opinion, he should stop for real, but he can't. He can't. Because if you want good fights, meaningful fights, the promotions have to work together. They have to. Otherwise, we're going to get trash in-house fights.
Yeah.
Ayab says they're going to be supporting plant in trailer parks across America. You're a disrespectful man, Ayab. You need to flog it. You know what I'm saying? Tone says, I suppose it's all just entertainment at the end of the day. I agree, it's all entertainment, but one of them should not be so. One of them, it's topsy-turvy. The YouTube boxers should be the ones begging to get on the pro fighters cards. It's the pro fighters now trying to get on the YouTuber cards. Imagine that.
Yeah. And let's keep it real. As much as I don't like the guy, Jake Paul is way more active than Danny Garcia.
Oh my God.
Errol Spence, when he, I'm talking about before the crash. I'm not even gonna say after the crash. Before the crash, he's more active than Keith Thurman. He's had more fights in the past year than Keith Thurman's had in the last 5 years. Think about that.
That's where we are. That's the American market right now. That's the American market that you gotta fight yourself into to try put on real boxing matches, and that's what sells. A YouTuber is more active than actual professional former champions. Imagine that. I didn't even realize that, Red Glove. Good point. Actual fact says out of that near 7 million, maybe 30 to 50,000 boxing enthusiasts. Facts. Well, every one of them need to buy that goddamn pay-per-view, because if this don't do over 1 million, boxing might be dead in America for real.
Yeah. There's a lot to dissect with this whole situation now that I think about it. There's a lot to dissect.
Tone says, remember Bruno flushing money down a laboratory years back? Sums him up. Laboratory, you got to be a Brit.
He did do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, he needs to be on an allowance. Like, Al Heyman is, I don't know about any of the other boxers if they're on allowances, but he's doing Adrian Broner a favor by doing that, because that forces him to manage his money instead of literally flushing it down the toilet. There's a video of him throwing, he had like a bunch of change from a transaction he did like at a Walmart or something. He threw it at the cashier and walked out the Walmart. Like, what? We're going to give you all your money so you could just squander it anyways? Like, literally doing stupid shit with it? Like, who literally flushes money down the toilet?
AB, about billions. Rodnell says, you can't make this shit up. I said this 5 years ago. PBC was going to kill boxing with the greedy eye. Hey, let me tell you something. When PBC first came out with the idea about free boxing back on TV, I was like, what? I can actually just turn on Fox and watch this, because I have Fox on me. I could just put the TV on channel 20 at that time, and it'll be Fox, and I could see PBC. But then after a while, they started saying, you know what? Nah, $80, sir. And then started putting Sean Porter versus Sebastian Formella and these people on free TV. I'm not watching that. I'm not watching. But this is where
you know what's crazy, Kong? All right. Shout out to Blood Boxing. He put up his documentary about Marvin Hagler yesterday, all right? And all right, so look, before I get to my point with the documentary, right now these guys have the optimum opportunity for exposure, all right? These guys are already fighting on TV, but they don't ever want to fight. And I think that's the best way to get exposure. Don't get me wrong, I think it's good to do the social media thing too, but that should be an enhancement. That shouldn't be the experience. And let's be real, that's pretty much the experience with a lot of these guys. But back to Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler, he had fights that were, you can't even watch them on YouTube because they're lost, because he was fighting on local television. And it wasn't even like in an arena. Like, they would literally set up a ring in a studio for a couple of his fights. He had to fight in a studio with no crowd. It's just him, his opponent, their corners, and the cameramen. And there wasn't no pandemic. This was just what they were doing. And he would fight these guys in a studio, and you can't find any footage of these fights because they were only aired locally. They weren't aired nationally. Now, at the time, Marvin Hagler was working, not only was he boxing, he was working construction. So this guy was working construction every day. After he got off of work, he went to the gym. The guys who owned the gym he went to also employed him as a construction worker. So he was pretty much with these men all day long, from the time he woke up and went to work to the time that he got out of training at the end of the day. And he was fighting like he was pretty active during that period of time. Marvin Hagler would have killed for the opportunities that these guys have these days. And what do these guys do? They're out there buying Merces. They're out there acting, stealing from fucking waitresses and shit. And these guys fight the court system and civilians more than they fight each other. And that's the damn truth.
In case anybody's wondering, a merce is a man purse that these moist boys keep using, merces, and they walk around, nah, man, this called drip. Nah, bro. Listen,
you could call it whatever the fuck you like. Me, it's just like, to me, it's stupid, right? Okay, so like, I recently found out why women really carry purses. I never knew this, but women, I mean, it makes sense if you think about dresses, but even their pants don't have pockets. All right. I'm a man. I keep my wallet in my pocket. I put my keys in my pockets. I put my phone in my pockets. Everything goes in my pockets. You got these guys who are spending extra money just so they could, let's be real. The only reason why they're buying Merces is so that they can buy a designer one and say, oh, look at me. They're just trying to peacock it, but I ain't no fucking bird. I ain't no fucking peacock. All right. I take my wallet, I put it in my pocket, and when I need to buy something, I take it out.
Man, you ain't got no drip. Shut up, man. You ain't got no drip. Get out of here, man.
I'm just old school, I guess.
You're old, man. You don't understand drip. Merces, clutches, things like that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, today I just want to talk on, my thoughts as a DAZN global customer about the situation in America and why we not seeing that, right? The fights over there, because, hey, let's face it, the American market right now is effed. And it's effed because the people, the American-based companies are effing it up. So DAZN can't come in here and rescue it, even though I would love it, because I want to see these American-based guys fight. But as a business, what do you do? What do you do? I think Lisa Bales and Black and all are correct. Eddie Hearn should stop sending goddamn offers to PBC. Don't send no more. But he ain't got no choice, because until these guys finally age out and stop fighting, they have a name. And that's the problem. In boxing, sometimes it's all about the name on your resume, right? There's no reason why Adrian Broner shouldn't fight Conor Benn. Because if people are saying, oh, I saw people on Twitter saying, oh, this is, Conor Benn needs to, fight somebody that better. I'm like, do y'all overrate Conor Benn or underrate Adrian Broner? Which is it? Because Conor Benn is a guy with no real amateur experience, still very raw. Are you telling me Adrian Broner, a man who's very experienced, can't beat Conor Benn? Broner needs the money, and he should be forced to fight on DAZN. Al should tell him, hey, you want your money? Go fight in DAZN. But DAZN finds itself in an American market that is unfriendly to actual boxing now. Ahab says, apparently Jamal flew into a rage after the waitress said she had Karbov winning. Oh, Ahab says, you don't know about Gucci anklets, Red.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to lie. I don't know about that.
Drip.
Yeah, you be dripping if you're moist. That's for damn sure. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, these guys are supposed to be gladiators, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of talk. I see
Really?
some guys trying to make the fights, but I'm seeing more of the guys just want to talk.
Hey man, all I'm saying is the Zone USA is gonna need to come up with something, because people are gonna be disappointed, because a lot of their subscribers came from the Canelo side, but they gotta do some goods. The thing is, no fights you're gonna make right now is gonna be no super fights, but you can make some nice solid fights. Ahab said Eddie need to bid big on a Crawford Porter fight. I agree. I would like to have that fight, but in boxing, nothing makes sense. Nothing. Nothing makes sense. It would make sense if you try and get this fight, but who even knows, bro? Because who knows? Maybe PBC comes out and finds money. I mean, convinces somebody to loan them some more money so they can bid big on the fight. Who knows? Another idea is Haney go up to 140 now. Well, I saw people having rumors that Haney and Mikey Garcia are supposed to be fighting later on in the year. And I guess that would signal Devin Haney's intentions of moving to 140. Because if he not doing shit at 135, nobody gonna fight him. Then move up, bro. It doesn't make sense. And for the money you're paying Devin Haney anyway, you gotta have him in a big fight. You can't have him in those squash fights at 135. I'm saying it's sink or swim for the money you want. But that's just my opinion as a DAZN global customer. Where the fights happen don't really matter to me personally. But I want to see the American-based guys. I like Diego Pacheco. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Khalil Cole again. He fought once the other day on, was it the Devin Haney card? He fought in that card, made his debut. I want to see them guys. But hold on. Santos said you don't think Mikey can make 140? How big is Mikey right now, bro? God damn. Tone says, will either of them be permitted to fight in the zone? Who, Tone? Who? You mean Broner and them? Probably not. But that's the dilemma we find ourselves into, because if Eddie Hearn don't try and fight them PBC dudes, the in-house fights are not gonna be great. It's gonna take some time to grow the young fighters to a point where we're excited about it. And by the time he finishes growing them, does the zone have the patience to wait for these young guys to grow up and become that? Because that's what it takes. It takes patience to grow young people and turn them into stars. Not everybody can be Anthony Joshua, who certain stars aligned for, right? Anthony Joshua was a gold medalist, and he had an opportunity to fight Charles Martin, who was not a big time heavyweight, but he had a chance to fight him. And I think Al Heyman forever regrets that he didn't put Charles Martin in with Deontay Wilder, and he really doesn't want to do business with Eddie Hearn no more.
But Charles Martin?
Yeah, Bottom Porter. If Eddie Hearn wins the bid, they have to fight there, unless one of them says no.
But that would only be for one fight, though, because they're not matchroom.
It'll be for one fight. So
he would have to win the purse bid every time one of these guys fight. Mandatories go to purse bid in order for that to work, and there's no guarantees in that. And in the long run, they depending on what happens, that could be a lot more costly.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, this is a business still. It's about how much do I put out and what am I getting back? Is it worth it? So, DAZN finds itself in a situation where the American market right now is topsy-turvy, where people want to see YouTubers fight, washed up MMA guys, more than they want to see actual professional high-class boxers. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
The PBC guys. I mean, you have older guys who always are getting in, or getting themselves in problems, who have bad attitudes. Do you want to work with them people? Even though Eddie Hearn is working with the worst person in boxing right now, Billy Joe Saunders. Eddie Hearn is working with Lucifer of boxing. He's working with Beelzebub of boxing.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this proves that America is not where the money's at. If anything, if we're not gonna get the fights that we want here in America, I guess I could just take the W in saying, because I've been saying that this is not where the money's at. You got all these guys who claim that, oh, AJ got to come over here. These guys got to come over here. This is where the money's at. But this is proof. This is not where the money's at. Like you got some very loud Americans who say that this is where the money's at, but the money is what's going to speak the loudest, and it ain't here.
That's facts. That's fact. But I just said we've been saying that for a while. You're doing the AJ thing, where it was like, but you keep saying the American market where the money is, but the only person making money in the American market is Canelo, and he's not American. The Mexican.
Yeah.
all these other guys who are Americans or whatever, born and raised in America, not making no money. They have not been able to exploit the American market. So it's like having a job, right? or looking for a job. You gotta sometimes go where the money is. You gotta go where the money is, the attraction is, and for a boxer right now, the American market is not friendly for you. It's not friendly. It's just not friendly. But as a DAZN Global subscriber, I don't care where the fights happen. I honestly, and I prefer British cards because I'm an old man and they come on at a decent time for me, right? But DAZN wants to lock down other markets. The problem is, in America, DAZN will be looking for other expiring contracts for sports. If they had a chance, they would not be doing boxing in America. They would not. That's the truth.
Yeah. Well, I would be cool. I would actually be cool. Like just thinking about it. If they just want to do like the other cards, but make it available on American DAZN, I'd be cool with that. Because I mean, let's be real. We got a bunch of American boxing fans claiming to be hardcore, but they only know like 3 boxers in the United States. They want to call themselves hardcore fans. If you want to prove that you're really a hardcore fan, yeah, you're gonna watch boxing even if it doesn't include an American. And I've watched when I did have DAZN, because I don't have it right now. I watched a lot of those UK cards, because one, I like, for the guys I didn't know, I wanted to learn them, and then there were some guys I knew of that I wanted to see fight, and then another plus is their cards end early for us, because they're ahead. Like I wish our cards were on earlier. I got shit to do in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always hoping whenever I'm watching a fight card that's based here in the States, I'm like, please, somebody knock somebody out, because I gotta be up I gotta be up early tomorrow.
But all I'm saying is DAZN USA. I agree. I want to see the fights there because I want to see the American-based guys. But can Eddie Hearn convince them American-based guys to travel? Let's go somewhere where we can actually fill out a stadium, where people will appreciate seeing you fight, where I don't have to bring KSI back and put you on the undercard of KSI again. Because that's what Eddie Hearn did with Devin Haney and Billy Joe Saunders. In order to get them a little bit more publicity, he put them on the KSI card. And people shit out on that. But DAZN USA is in a market that is not friendly to boxing. It's just not friendly. So I don't know as a businessman what I would do, but you know, I know if you're running a business, you're doing it, of course, to make your money back. You know, you're not running business for charity. That's just that's just how I feel. You know what I mean? But that's it for me, Red Glove. Anything from you, bro?
No, that's all. Thanks for having me, Kong. Good live. Y'all hit the
Hey,
like
man.
button.
Appreciate that. Hey, Dina Asher Smith, if somehow you come across this live, I'm down here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't know if you like light-skinned dudes who don't have no hair no more, but I'm ready. I'm willing to change my ways, and I want you on the team. I want you at the stable. I want you to I want you to be a general. So you come through, and we can start negotiations. That's to your bride price, and let's have it. All right. I'm married now, but we can convince my wife to take you in to the stable. Come to death row. Y'all have a nice day. Peace out. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands, wear your mask. Peace.